Sir, a transmission from the planet.
It's Queen Amidala herself.
At last, we are getting results. Again, you come before us, Your Highness.
You will not be so pleased when you hear what I have to say, Viceroy. Your trade boycott of our planet has ended.
I was not aware of such failure.
I have word that the Chancellor's ambassadors are with you now, and that you have been commanded to reach a settlement.
I know nothing of any ambassadors. You must be mistaken.
Beware, Viceroy. The Federation has gone too far this time.
We would never do anything without the approval of the Senate. You assume too much.
We will see.
Viceroy, we have captured the Queen.
Victory!
How will you explain this invasion to the Senate?
The Queen and I will sign a treaty that will legitimize our occupation here. I have assurances it will be ratified by the Senate.
I will not cooperate.
Now, Your Highness.
Nominated to succeed Valorum as Supreme Chancellor.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one. Your Majesty, if I am elected, I promise to put an end to corruption.
Who else has been nominated?
He can see things before they happen. That's why he appears to have such quick reflexes. It's a Jedi trait.
He deserves better than a slave's life.
Had he been born in the Republic, we would have identified him early. The Force is unusually strong with him. That much is clear. Who was his father?
There was no father. I carried him, I gave birth, I raised him. I can't explain what happened. Can you help him?
I don't know. I didn't actually come here to free slaves.
The future is here. It is time for you to let go.
I don't want things to change.
But you can't stop the change. Any more than you can stop the suns from setting. Oh, I love you. Now, hurry.
Afraid to lose her, I think, hmm?
What does that got to do with anything?
Everything. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I sense much fear in you.
Bad?
Like the ones I used to have about my mother, just before she died.
And?
And it was about you.
Tell me.
It was only a dream. You die in childbirth.
And the baby?
I don't know.
It was only a dream.
I won't let this one become real.
This baby will change our lives. I doubt the Queen will continue to allow me to serve in the Senate. And if the Council discovers you're the father, you'll be expelled.
I know.
We are warriors. We got a grand army. That's why you know liking us, Mr. Dinks.
Him was the will of the Force. I have no doubt of that.
Bring him before us, then.
I saw your ship.
The Separatists have been taking care of my master.
It is finished, then. You have restored peace and justice to the galaxy. Send a message to the ships of the Trade Federation. All droid units must shut down immediately.
Very good, my lord. What are you doing out here?
I was so worried about you. Obi-Wan told me terrible things.
What things?
He said you've turned to the dark side. That you killed younglings.
Obi-Wan is trying to turn you against me.
He cares about us.
Us?
He knows. He wants to help you. Anakin, all I want is your love.
Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that.
At what cost? You're a good person. Don't do this.
I won't lose you the way I lost my mother. I am becoming more powerful than any Jedi has ever dreamed of. And I'm doing it for you. To protect you.
Come away with me. Help me raise our child. Leave everything else behind while we still can.
Don't you see? We don't have to run away anymore. I have brought peace to the Republic. I am more powerful than the Chancellor. I can overthrow him. And together, you and I can rule the galaxy. Make things the way we want them to be.
So, hey guys, I just watched some videos today and I was thinking, you know, Anakin Skywalker. The videos I was watching was actually the Charlie Hopkins videos where they play the roles of the characters of the TV show they're watching, or the film they're watching. And I was thinking about it, and they were talking about how it's basically Revenge of the Sith and how Anakin goes all evil and things, and I was like, from a certain point of view, maybe he was the chosen one because he was drawn by the Force towards a queen who was a good ruler of her people, and who in the back lore of the actual second film, I believe it is, in the cutscenes, it shows that she actually leads, or she's part of expeditions to a world that is dying, and they try to rescue and save the people. And she's there as this humanitarian relief worker from one planet to another trying to save them, and they absolutely fail. And you can say that's one of her big lessons in life. But that's just the thing. Anakin is drawn to her and chooses her. He doesn't want her to become evil, nor does he try to ever get her to become evil. He tries to be a guardian for her, a protector. He wants nothing more to enforce a reasonable will on politicians that they are required to actually negotiate and talk. And if you actually listen to his points, and that she tries to point out to him how he's wrong, the things he's wrong about isn't because he's wrong, it's just because they already try to do that. So, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, the Jedi have basically, well, at least Mace Windu has basically refused to involve him in a critical moment where if he had been there from the start, they would have had this build-up of understanding between them, knowing what led to that moment. It's the mistrust of Mace Windu, that shadow of doubt in him, where he tries to do the right thing, as he perceives it, by not trusting, that actually leads to the downfall of Anakin from a certain point of view. But worse than that, Anakin's own mistrust also of Mace Windu. Both could be shadows of the dark side on them both, because neither can see the full future because of Palpatine's efforts to blind them to each other's hearts and goals. Or if they had just worked together from the beginning and trusted each other more, they would have had a natural build-up. That's one point. Point two goes back to what I was starting at. Padme is actually an ideal ruler. Anakin offers to rule the galaxy by her side. He doesn't actually want to rule the galaxy for his profit or his power. He wants to rule it to be a just leader. He wants to actually use the Force and the Galactic Republic to end slavery on worlds. He is actually a noble guy still, who just mistrusts the Jedi because they've been subservient to the Republic, who has let slavery go on. Literally, the Jedi, except for one of them, would have let him stay in slavery and die on Tatooine a slave. That's not a good relationship build-up, is it? The Jedi have fallen far from what the Force would have them, perhaps. Unless you're saying the Force wants people in slavery, which, considering he's the chosen one and he broke out of slavery, and a lot of slavery did end. First human slavery and then alien slavery once the Empire fell, when he killed Palpatine. In fact, you could say Anakin really is the chosen guy, and the people he destroyed, generally speaking, were actual villains. Sand people, bent on evil, and were literally abducting people and doing horrible things to them. The Jedi, they were uplifting a corrupt regime that was getting more corrupt because a literal Sith Lord was in charge of it. So a Sith Lord was in charge of the Jedi, which was, doesn't help that the Sith Lord wasn't in charge of him, but that was on everyone. 3, the Separatists he kills are basically, as he perceives it, an enemy because the Republic he serves and the Jedi serve have told him they are an enemy because of politics. As a Force, as part of the Force, you could say, he is slowly tearing apart the chains of manipulation and slavery that allowed the dark side to take control, which is also a part of the Force. And you could say the cycle of events could be that the dark side is acting as a death of the Republic so it can be torn apart, and the death of the Jedi Order so it can be reborn and torn apart, with Anakin being the seed, the spark of the new. So it's not just that he wants to end these things, he wants to make them better. And the Jedi could have supported him and trusted him more, and they trusted him a lot, but they didn't trust him fully because they were bent on serving the Republic still, and they weren't thinking of serving the Force the way they should have been. They say follow the rule of the Force in the terms of letting things die, and that comes back to haunt Yoda because he lets the Jedi Order die. So the Republic dies, the Jedi Order dies, Anakin's heart dies, and things go on. That seed becomes hope because the last remaining Jedi that matter in this story context are Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda, and they have learned a little bit about the importance of restarting things, and so they've invested in the offspring of the chosen one, hoping that they will be the true chosen ones, and in a way they are. But this goes back to Padme. Padme would have been the ideal ruler of the galaxy. Anakin was pulled to her and wanted nothing more than to support her and protect her. If she was the queen of the galaxy, of the Galactic Republic, she would have actually been the ideal leader. She would have been a force to make sure all the worlds were taken care of, all the people of the worlds were taken care of. She would have actually worked with the Senate to actually get good bills passed. She was not anti-alien. She liked everyone. She wasn't racist. She wasn't evil. She was the ideal ruler, but she was not of the willpower or the type of personality that would ever take control, whereas Anakin was, as the Force willed him to be, to bring balance. And if the Jedi had been more listening to the Force, it may have led to the point where they supported him enough that he was able to wrest control from Palpatine And maybe, for a while at least, she might have been queen to a Jedi who was ruling the galaxy until they calmed him down and got him back under control. And she would have actually been reasonable in working with the Congress, and they would have... Sorry. I'm going a little too real world into this. She would have been working with the Republic Senate, and they would have actually worked to build a better and cleaner system. And she would have actually worked with the Separatists, because she's shown in the Clone Wars animated series to actually want peace with the Separatists. She doesn't want to destroy them or dominate them. She wants to work with them to bring what's best for all the people of all the worlds. So she would have been the ideal ruler who would have actually worked to eliminate corruption up to a point. Anakin would have been the force that would have actually forced the corruption out of the way anytime he heard about that there was something she couldn't deal with, and she would not have gone to him for that. It just would have come out at some point in the relationship each time that it was serious enough to come out. And you would have had this dynamic of male and female working together to bring peace and justice. She would have been the logical engine of politicking, and he would have been the loyal knight at her side, keeping everything rational in terms of applying force as needed and only as needed. So it would have been this really great story between them. It's this alternate tale of what could have been. So then Vader fulfills prophecy, tosses Palpatine over the side into the reactor shaft. All sorts of Dark Empire stuff happens after that, of course, but the main thing is Leia is supposed to rebuild the Republic, and she is supposed to fulfill the role her mother had of being the guiding legislative hand that brings the needs of the people of all the worlds together, including the aliens, bringing peace and justice, and even helping the Imperial remnant fold in and have their own path that's good for their people, and they work together for mutual benefit. And it's this great real-world parallel up to the point of how the Cold War can end, and we can avoid world wars by actually simply addressing what both sides want, the best well-being for their people. And it's this, as George Lucas always puts it, it's a great parallel to war and empires and past events. And Rebellion isn't about war. Rebellion is about injustice being addressed, if it's a worthy, noble rebellion, and not about power or something. And this was a case where it was about the freedom of the people. So sometimes it's not about the power structure, it's about how you've raised the people in that power structure to act and to perform. And good education can produce people like Padme, who can work together with the people who haven't had those education opportunities like Anakin. And you can bond societies together by bringing out the best in each other and helping each other see from each other's perspectives. And there's this great potential story in the prequels where things could be that way, but it never quite comes out. And so we get the Dark Empire side where Palpatine gets to blind everyone and goes evil. But it's really fun to actually think and wonder what it would be like where they just have peace. And I just thought it was kind of funny, they basically had a perfect empress right there with Padme being someone that would support the entire Republic. And I think most of this, in the fictional setting of the Republic, most of the senators actually would not have minded her being the queen, and Anakin being the war hero he was, stupid at times, but always putting himself in there, would have been tolerable, because at least he wasn't power hungry, and he was actually focused on putting his life out there to save others' lives. And it's this great story of nobility and self-sacrifice, and nobility and service being hand in hand. And I just thought it's funny that everyone's talking about how Anakin's fall is this bad thing, but if Obi-Wan and Yoda and Mace Windu, there's this other path where they could have, instead of fighting the Chosen One, they could have worked with him to empower him and enable him. Which would have actually, ironically, prevented Palpatine from using him, which would have actually probably prevented the point where it becomes Anakin Skywalker as the Emperor and Padme as the Empress. And he would have spent hand and knee for her anything she wanted. I think all he wanted was her to be alive and their kids to be safe. So it's just kind of funny. Everyone kind of ignores that part. Have a good day, guys.